Hi, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Abbey Research Reads. I'm Dr. Kristen, and today I am talking about The Rainbow Troops, a novel by Andrea Hirata. I Googled how to say that. I hope I did it because Andrea Hirata is an Indonesian author, and I may be butchering that name. Let's be real. So this book was published in Indonesia in 2005. It is a closely autobiographical debut novel. It sold more than 5 million copies, shattering records. It is on the back, it says a literary phenomenon, which we know publishers are a bit hyperbolic, but it's Indonesia's best-selling book of all time. More than 5 million copies sold. I have a question about a country of 235 million people and the best-selling book is 5 million copies sold. I have a couple questions, but my guess is about resources and reading and the fact that it's an island nation. But what I love about this is that it is 0% part of Jakarta. It takes place on a tiny island, we're told, called Belatong, which is largely dominated, the island is, by a foreign company that the character in this book calls the estate. It's a foreign company that has come to mine the tin on their island, to strip mine, to be completely honest. If you are part of this company, if you live in their estate, if you're part of their system, then everything's great. You have food, you have resources, you have everything. If you do not, you have nothing. He describes his school, which was made of corrugated metal and frequently blown down by wind. His teacher that he loved and that taught him the importance of education had a 5th grade education herself, was 15 when she started teaching them, and did it entirely out of the love of her heart and her calling. It is a messy story told very literarily. The writing is beautiful. The prose is incredible. This isn't a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end in a certain way. Like there's some stuff in there about a particular incident with the estate that may or may not have been autobiographical. I didn't dig because I don't care, because the way that the story worked, I didn't need to care. What the true value of this book is I've read a bunch of things where it's compared to The Kite Runner, and I think that's true. It's a really closely observed exploration of a childhood a lot of us didn't have. And even if someone reads this who grew up in the absolute middle of nowhere in India, or with backbreaking poverty, as we say, the phrase is, in Russia, my guess is that this story is still really unique because, and this story will still resonate because it's so small, it means it's universal. We all know what it's like to go to school and maybe not love it, or love it some days and not love it others. We all know what it's like to have a favorite subject over others. Many of us are blessed to know what it's like to have a teacher that changes our lives. I have no idea what it's like to go to school where you have to hold your own umbrellas because there's no roof. But I do know what it's like to fall so deeply in love with the written word that you know your life will never, ever be anything apart from that magic. It was marketed to me as a YA novel, and I just want to push back against that so hard. It is not. It is an adult novel written from the perspective of a child, but that perspective moves back and forth a lot. It's obvious that this guy is writing to us as an adult, but imbuing quite a lot of childhood viewpoints into the narrative at different times. It moves both choppily and smoothly, in a way that I think only an autobiographical can. In terms of structure, the chapters are pretty short. They're all kind of like vignettes, and some of them are connected and some of them aren't, but they're all, in terms of the chronology, but they're all connected. Like, this is a chapter. They're all connected to the larger prospect of describing to us these incredible kids that the world will never know, that the world is probably not super interested in, they have no economic or commercial value to the marketplace. They have no economic or commercial value to Indonesia. What they do have is innate value as humans, and we should know their stories even though we'll never encounter them. And that's the kind of beautiful energy and tension that goes through this book. I had to track it down through thrift books. It was not available in my library. It was not available in any library in Philadelphia, actually. I tracked it down through thrift books, and I bought an ex-library copy from Greenfield Public Library, wherever that is. Oh, Greenfield, Massachusetts. Got rid of this from their library, and so I bought it. And I'll be passing it back to thrift books so that other people can buy it, because I think it's a really, really important read. I'm really glad that I read it while we were doing our research for Indonesia. It gave me a deeper understanding, which is what Colonizers World Tour is all about, which if you're just watching this on our YouTube, on our Abbey Research Reads video, let me know. Let me let you know that over on the main channel, this week is Indonesia Week in our Colonizers World Tour, which is our project where we are spending a week in a different country somewhere in the world and talking about how colonization shaped their culture and still continues to. So Indonesia was colonized by a whole host of people, but for the longest period of time, it was the Dutch. And there is and it's also the largest Muslim country in the world, which we address in this book in terms of population. And has the second highest number of spots at the Hajj every year that Saudi Arabia opens up, second only to Saudi Arabia. So it's a really, really fascinating archipelago of a country, and really rich in a lot of its overlapping histories, cultures, languages. There's hundreds of them. All of this kind of stuff. Excuse me. Pardon me, the book is not boring. I just don't sleep much these days. So I am really grateful that I read this during Indonesia, our Indonesia research, because it was great to watch the movie that we watched. Well, not really, we hated the movie, but it was great to watch a lot of the YouTubes that we watched. It was great to kind of encounter a lot of the truth that we found that way. But this is so closely observed and so lived in a beautiful way that I cannot recommend it highly enough. If you've watched any of our coverage, or you're into like a kite runner vibe about a country you've never really researched or know anything about, except maybe that a tsunami hit it 15 years ago. This book's a great one. It's literary, but not inaccessible. So, which means that the prose is beautiful, but I didn't feel like somebody was just trying to sound smart for the sake of sounding smart, which is how I feel about every Jonathan Franzen novel. Anyway, that's it for me, this edition. I am Dr. Kristen, and if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. It does really like. If you like our book review, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell so you don't miss a thing. If you like how our brains work, how we talk, and the jokes that we make, you'll probably like our main channel, where we talk about culture that is more visual and experienced than literary. It's called just Abbey Research, super creatively, and it's it's pretty easy to find linked below. That's definitely it from me now. I'm Dr. Kristen, and I'll see you next time. Bye.